So we teach the lie of racism on a daily basis, and we are. Oh, I was supposed to shut this off. I'm sorry, I'm busy now. Goodbye.
You know who you've been waiting to see? In 1968, a third grade teacher in Iowa did the unthinkable. She turned her students against one another based on the color of their eyes. Decades later, the world is still reeling from that lesson. She's been called a visionary, a radical, and a tormentor, but she calls herself a truth teller in a world addicted to lies. The legendary, the iconic Jane Elliott.
Thank you so much for being with us again, Miss Elliott. I've been studying you for so long. I remember when I got to college in California, I was like, oh, who is this woman I keep hearing about out here? And I remember looking into you and going the brown eye, blue eyes, and I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's such a powerful way to teach and educate that.
Jane, Miss Jane, I'm sorry. What made you decide to do this experiment?
Oh, yes. Number one, it's not an experiment.
Okay.
It's an experiment. Because if what I do when I separate people according to the color of their eyes in order to teach them not to act like a fool and believe in the mystery of race, the myth, the lie of race, what I do is an exercise. I do not experiment with people. What I do is I put a group of people in a room and I say, you people are good because you got the right color eyes. You people are bad because you got the wrong color eyes. It's not my fault. God made you that way. You'll just have to live with it. And they immediately become exactly what I accuse them of being. No matter what their age, they become exactly what I tell them they are. And there's no way they can get out of it because I have the power. I did this the first day after Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. I went into my classroom the day after he was killed, and I listened to my teachers, my fellow teachers, talk about their joy at his death. And I thought, my God, how can you people teach about racism when you have this feeling about that man who was not perfect, but he was a good example of what we could do if we decided to. And so I decided, all right, I am an educator. The word educator comes from the deus, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is engaged in leading people out of ignorance. And you can't do that if you tell children that there are black and white people on this earth, because there aren't. Educators who stand in a classroom and look down at, never across at, but down at their students and say, now you and you and you are black, and you and you are white. And I understand that. Look, fool, you don't understand it if you're calling them black and white, because that's not what they are. You need to go back and retake the course. But no, don't send her back or him back to retake the course, because they'll get the same thing all over again.
Wow.
We're still teaching in colleges of education that black people are different from white people, and white people are superior, and black people are inferior, and it's of the business of white males to bring the rest of us to meet Jesus, who had kinky woolly hair, and feet of bronze, according to the Bible.
Feet of bronze.
Was a man of color. He would have a hard time going to the Methodist Church in Riceville, Iowa.
Not the Methodist Church.
And even more with the Catholic Church and the Lutheran Church. The Lutheran Church wouldn't let him park his car in the parking lot. So we teach the lie of racism on a daily basis, and we are. Oh, I was supposed to shut this off. I'm sorry, I'm busy now. Goodbye. I am.
We're going to leave that in there because I love that.
I love it. I'm going to use that.
That's much nicer than what I usually do. Usually I sing something to them, and they sometimes don't like that. Anyway, if we could get every college of education to teach that there are no black or white people on the face of the earth. You may be very, very, very dark brown, but you are not black. And you may be very, very, very pale pink, but you are not white. We have got to get that out of the schools, the schools of education particularly, because kids come in there having been told from kindergarten to 12th grade that some of us are white and some of us are black and some of us are good and some of us are bad, and those and the teachers say, well, yeah, I realize he's black, but he's a good little boy. No, 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 no. Number one, he isn't black.
Oh,
Yeah.
And how dare you say he's black, but he's a good little boy?
Wow.
He could say he's black and a good little boy. That might help, but we don't. And so we fill our prisons with people who believe they're black and white
wow.
because we lied to them from kindergarten on. The day after Martin Luther King Jr. was killed, I was so appalled at what the men who were describing this killing were saying, and then what our teachers said, that I knew that I could not allow my third grade students to be as ignorant as their other teachers and as all the people on television were. And so I started and I had an exercise in eye color, because if skin color it can tell you how good or how bad you are, then so can eye color. And your eyes are closer to your brain than your skin is. So why not base the exercise on eye color? And that's what I did, and I learned more than the kids did. And I learned things I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know that I'm a racist and that I was educating students in a racist way before I did that exercise. They said, and they became what their teachers were. The brown-eyed kids were on top the first day. I'm not sure. The blue-eyed kids may have been that year, but usually the brown-eyed kids are on top the first day.
Mm-hmm.
And those brown-eyed kids exhibit all the kinds of things that they've seen their parents do and say, all the kinds of things they've heard their parents say on that day. It is absolutely terrifying when you do it. And you realize that within every one of those kids is another person who has been trained to see people as black and white, bad and good, depending on somebody else's definition of their skin color. I watched that happen. I watched little kids who hadn't been able to read very well the previous day read words I knew they couldn't read and spell words I knew they couldn't spell. And I said, how did you know how to do that? Well, because I'm smart. Mrs. Elliott, you said I'm smart and I can do this. On the other hand, I watched blue-eyed kids who were brilliant, unable to spell the simplest word on the day they were on the bottom. And I said, why aren't you doing this right? Well, I'm not smart. I guess I'm not smart. And they were crying and I was crying. I thought, what the hell have I done here?
Yeah.
And that was on Friday. I didn't reverse the exercise. I sent them home. Monday morning they came in. I reversed the exercise. I watched the brown-eyed kids who had been so brilliant on Friday become utterly able to perform properly on Monday. And the blue-eyed kids who hadn't been able to learn on Monday were brilliant all day Monday because they had the right color eyes. And I thought, my God, look what we have done in this country. For 250 years, we have treated a group of people as if they were less than, and have lost the opportunity to have those people exhibit their brilliance. Imagine this.
Wow.
350,000 years ago, people evolved in sub-Saharan Africa, and they left sub-Saharan Africa eventually and managed, these brilliant people whom we have called less than all these years, left sub-Saharan Africa and managed to populate every landmass on the face of the earth. They weren't my color. They didn't get this color until they had moved away from Africa, where there was sunshine all the time, so their bodies produced a lot of melanin. But when they got farther and farther from Africa, closer and closer to the northern climates, they were exposed to less and less sunlight, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. Their brains didn't get smaller and their brains didn't get larger, but their skin and their hair and their eyes changed color in response to sunlight. That's all color is. And we've got to start calling, instead of white and black, we've got to start calling those who have very little melanin in their skin melanemic. And that one's in the dictionary. Yes, melanemic. It's like if you don't have enough iron, you're anemic.
Yes.
Let's call Webster.
Call Webster. Miss Elliott told us.
No. Webster's put it in there. It's got
I put it in there.
Webster. That one's in Webster. You look it up and you'll find it. Melanemic is having little melanin in your skin. If you have a lot of melanin, and about 15 to 18% of all the people on the face of the earth are melanemic. If you have a lot of melanin, you're melanotic, which rhymes with exotic. Now, 15 to 18.
Now you're a rapper.
This too is in the dictionary.
Okay.
People. So 15% of us are melanemic. 15%, 15 to 8% are melanotic. Go add those two together, you get 30%. Wait a minute. What about the 70% in the middle?
Okay.
Who are neither melanemic nor melanotic? I have come up with a word for them: melanaceous.
Melanaceous.
But you came up with that one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I can't find
Melanaceous.
it in the dictionary, but I want it there because it means
Webster?
having a
Melanaceous.
moderate amount of melanin in your skin. If you're melanaceous, you're like me. You have a moderate amount of melanin in your skin. No, I'm melanemic, and I know it, but I don't want to call myself that. Because I've got melanotic spots here, but the rest of me is melanaceous. Okay. So we've got to get the word melanaceous in the dictionary. If melanemic is in there and melanotic is in there, then melanaceous should be in there.
And that's the 70%.
What?
The melanaceous, those are the 70%?
70%, from 60 to 70% of the population of the earth is melanaceous.
See, now I see a whole T-shirt. You about to make a whole nother T-shirt?
We went from shades
Absolutely.
to brown.
No, I've got it. I'm making a T-shirt that says, I'm an S.O.B, and so are you. And then underneath it is S.O.B means shade of brown.
Because that's on our T-shirt.
That's what we all are. We're all S.O.Bs, and we ought to be glad for it. And you see, we have used those two colors to divide people for as long as I've been alive, and of course, ever since the 1500s. Wow. If the 1500s, that's when this mess started. If we hadn't started dividing people into white and black, good and bad, we wouldn't have the problems we have in this country today. And we could destroy racism in a generation. I have no doubt, but by teaching properly and teaching the truth, we could destroy racism.
Wow.
The word race, to mean a separate group of people, came out of France in 1580. Now think about that. Only in 1580 did we start identifying people as different races. We aren't different races. We are all members of the same race. Now, we all have a little bit of Neanderthal and a little bit of those other different races, those humanoids that were here. But most of us, all of us have Homo sapien, are all Homo sapien. And when I say Homo sapien to a group of college students, the bad boys look like, she called us all homosexuals. And then I have to stop and say, wait a minute, fellas. You got to get your mind up between your legs and up between your ears. Now that's the difference. That's the difference between Biden and what's his name? Trump. Biden thinks with what's above his waist and between his ears. Trump thinks below his waist and between his legs.
You're trying to get us sit down tonight.
Hey, I'm sorry. You can't accuse me of lying because that's exactly what's going on.
No, I mean, that's fact. Yes.
And I'm sorry if there are those who would support either of them. That's their problem, not mine.
Yes.
But we have the necessity, we have the obligation to see things as they are, not as other people want us to see them.
I love that. Well,
if you can look at somebody and say to yourself, well, he says he's this, and so I'll believe it. You'll believe that you could kill a horse and call it a turkey and serve it for Thanksgiving dinner.
Gaslight me all you want.
Right.
No, we have to put a stop to it. We have to change our language. And if you're going to use the language of the 1500s, then you should use the means of transportation and communications that they used in the 1500s. And you should dress the way they did in the 1500s. And all these men will be wearing pointy-toed shoes with little flowers on the toes and knee breeches and powdered wigs. And all the women will be wearing corsets so tight that their waists aren't more than 18 inches around.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. That's right. See, we would protest that loudly. Right. And if we do this thing and people listen to it and get angry, I'll be watching for smoke signals. When I go outside, because we're going to have to give up television, give up electricity, give up all the things that have made our lives easier in order to support a lie.
A
Now,
lot.
I want to know how many people are willing to do that.
I'm not.
Well, I'm concerned that, there are people jumping this new. If it just seems like the tides have turned and gone into a direction that is like back to the 1500s, I guess you could.
We're going backward to the 40s as fast as we can.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because I remember the 40s. I was born in 1933. I remember the 40s. But I I'm not so stupid that I can't learn from
Yeah.
what's happening now. And what we're doing now, when we call people black and white, we're acting as though we believe everything that was done and said in the 14 and 1500s. And I don't think people do. But they will take those two words and carry them forth without even stopping to think. And because we don't know, nobody investigates this. We just think, well, it's the way our parents talk, so it must be right. It's the way it's written in the Bible, so it must be right. I'm sorry, people, but you aren't believing what's written in the Bible if you believe that, because in the Bible it says Jesus had kinky, woolly hair and feet of bronze, and nobody wants to pray. Most of us white folks don't want to pray to somebody who has kinky, woolly hair and feet of bronze.
Jane, my mother once told me that people would die and go to hell before they'd serve a black god.
Well, and so that's probably where they are. I hope they're happy.
Oh, Jesus. And I remember as a little girl her telling me that, and it was just so impactful to me because I thought, as a little girl, I was naive and thought, no, that can't be true. And as an adult, I can clearly see, especially in today's times, I do believe people would die and go to hell before they would worship a black god.
Well, they have no choice because God is a spirit and has neither color nor gender. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, Jesus had kinky woolly hair and feet of bronze, but he was not black.
No.
He was a shade of brown. Now, if we can
look, bronze
yes,
was probably in the thesaurus.
right. If we can get it into their heads that he wasn't black, folks, don't worry about it. He was a shade of brown, just like all the rest of us are, because of his body's response to sunlight. It has nothing to do with being God's chosen child. As a result of his body's exposure to sunlight and how his body reacted to it. It is so simple and so logical and so real that now when I see somebody worshiping a God, a Jesus, that doesn't look like the one I have in my head, I think, you poor soul.
Oh, wow.
You have to spend the rest of your life believing a lie in order to feel like a good Christian. Think about that. If you want to be a good Christian, you have to believe a lie.
Well, I was thinking since the last time we talked, Jane, you've been doing this for so many years. What has made you continue down this journey? What has made you stay the course?
Slow learners.
I mean, that's valid.
Yeah.
True.
Hey, I'd have been glad to stop doing this.
Yeah.
I don't want people to hate me. I don't enjoy flying all over the place to tell people what they don't want to hear.
Well,
But somebody
Somebody
has to tell people what they don't want to hear. And yet somebody has to mention that all the books in the Bible, except one, were written by males, which means that the Bible is very male-oriented. Yeah. However, no male was born by a male.
Oh, they sure weren't. Now tell them, Jane. Break it down.
Right. So maybe, perhaps, those other 11 books might have been written in such a way that it also recognized the goodness of females and the worth of females and the necessity for having females. Try to have an all-male society. First, you have to have a female.
And we see how that worked out, don't we?
Yeah, that didn't work out at all. Anyway, if she's productive and she produces what they want, only the males will live, and you'll only have one female. On the other hand, if you wanted to have an all-female society, you'd only need one male.
That's true.
But I like men. Make no mistake. I like them a lot.
They all right. They all right.
No, they're more than all right. They're absolutely wonderful. And if a man my age walks by me wearing Old Spice, I'm liable to jump his bones.
Not the Old Spice.
That's what my husband wore. It was just, all right, now let's get on with this. Get on with
All right,
this.
calm down. Calm down. Take a sip. All right. We got to
I'm
get you back
drinking to
in the
cool
right.
myself off. Go ahead.
So, okay, like you have been doing it for so long, you have been staying the course. And I'm here to tell you that, we're losing people like you because I'm starting to see generations, even in my generation, I'm Gen X. I'm starting to see them say it isn't worth it because, that fight is gone now. It seems like everyone's lost that sense of fight anymore.
Because we we have now and had 5 years ago for 4 years the kind of leadership that said, forget what that person is saying, just listen to me. And he said that standing on the stage, wherever he was, and said, don't pay attention to them, just listen to me. And people just listened to him. And as a result of that, we have a lot of people who don't know the difference between right and wrong. And when they repeat what he has said, they have to repeat 3 different versions of everything they say because he has 3 different versions of everything he has to say.
Wow.
The right one, the wrong one, and the one that'll satisfy the group. So we are in a position now where we have been led for 5 years in a very, very, very bad way. And we've got to turn this thing around. We've got to watch and see what's going on and pay attention to what he's doing and what he's saying and stop him. Catch him, stop him, and say, wait a minute, what you just said was, and then he'll make some ridiculous statement, and then the camera will move on because they get paid to praise him, not to tell the truth about it. We've got to refuse to allow our leaders to be uncivil, and that's
Right. And they are uncivil
right
right now.
Right now, we are a less civil society than we have been during the 92 years of my life.
Yes.
Wow.
And civility has gone down the tubes because all of a sudden, thou shalt will not bear witness, false witness. This man bears false witness on a minute by minute basis.
Yes.
And people are willing to accept it because of the money. And we have to realize that we're doing exactly what we had said as a Christian nation we would not do.
Wow.
We have broken every one of the 10 Commandments. And we have leadership. And I know that not everybody cares about the 10 Commandments.
Right.
However, they are moral. We have stopped being a moral society. We have become immoral in order to pursue the mighty dollar. And these are dangerous times. I do not want to lose this democracy.
Well, what happened, Jane? Because as you know, you told us before that they're censoring you. The universities. It's hard for you to get on the.
What's going on?
What do we do when there's all this censorship going on?
I've been banned on all college and university campuses because of the evangelical Christians and the trumpeters. I haven't done a college campus in the last 2 years because I've been banned. I'm sorry, I'm busy, cause later. So I think
I love that.
I think that what I'm saying needs to be heard by college students,
Right?
particularly those who are going into education.
Okay.
Because I think our future educators need to tell their students the truth instead of the lie of blackness and whiteness and redness and yellowness. So I think that when they ban me on college and university campuses, they tell the faculty and whoever runs the campus, whoever runs the college or university, we do not want students to hear what this woman is saying.
Wow.
Why don't they want people to hear that there's no black and no white? Because there's power in white. And because we are determined right now, the one problem from tall tail males is their fear that they are going to be replaced. They are scared to death that white people are going to be replaced by people of color. They need to get over that. We were never anything but people of color.
From the start.
Yeah, we were never white, but we are attempting right now. we have closed the borders.
Yes.
Because, as Mr. T. Rump said during his first term, we've got to keep those brown-skinned people out because brown-skinned people reproduce too rapidly. And I thought, That's pure, unadulterated racism
Yes.
born out of ignorance.
Right.
Every one of us is a brown person. Every one of us is a brown-skinned person.
Woo.
He doesn't know that, and he doesn't want to know that. He brought 59 people here from South Africa, whom he called white people, because they were being abused by black people. Now, number one, there are no black people in South Africa. And these people he brought weren't white. They are all shades of brown. But he is so mixed up that he really, when he looks at you, he sees black. When he looks at me, he sees white. He doesn't see my color or your color. He has to convince himself, he has to turn it around so that he can see what isn't there.
So he just doesn't think he's the shade of brown either.
Oh my, no. Oh my, no. No, we have to keep those brown-skinned people out of here because they reproduce too rapidly. Now, in his case, he did reproduce too rapidly. Shut up, Jane.
You're trying to get us shut down and we ain't even got you on air yet.
I'm glad I haven't. But you have to realize that we're being had badly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Some people haven't caught on to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you know, there are many people out here who have not gotten the message.
Right.
And
many, like 98% of the population of the United States.
It's crazy.
And I'm just, you know, we did talk about, you know, bringing in sexism into this conversation too. And it's like, where does that cross?
Without sexism, there would be no racism. Pale, stale males are scared to death that those darker skinned males are going to be more attractive to those pale, stale females. And, you know, what they are. But they also have some attributes that a whole lot of pale, stale males don't have. Okay. And the only reason I know the things I know is because I've learned them from people who look like you.
Okay.
People who look like me, even my father, who was a delightful, wonderful man, could not have told me what I have learned from people who look like you, from brown women, from melanaceous and melodic women. You know more than anybody else on the face of the earth because you've had to learn it. You have no choice. And you have to pretend that you believe this crap.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
don't you? Do you believe that there are black people?
You're preaching. You're preaching right now. Like,
well,
yes.
No, I'm asking you, do you believe that there are white people?
Well, you have schooled us. We were taught to believe that.
As I said, if you were taught that a horse was a turkey, would you kill one and serve it for Thanksgiving dinner?
Well, some people would. You know, aren't people doing that right now?
Well, I don't think so. That's hard work. I've tried to kill a horse. That's hard work.
I grew up calling you Orange.
Yes.
I used to call her the Orange Lady.
Because one day I had a delivery of furniture and she was next door staying with my neighbor. Mm-hmm. And she was over the balcony and the guy stopped by the balcony of the neighbor and said, "Do you know when the lady next door will be home?" And she goes, they kept asking her, "Is that your mom?" And she finally said,
I got mad and was like, "My mom is Orange."
My mom is what?
Orange.
Orange.
Quit asking me about these people. My mom is Orange. And from a child who's never been taught white, black, or anything, that's what she came up with.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was just as logical as white and black.
Yeah. You know, for her, in her mind, who's not been influenced or taught or put anything in her head about a difference, that's all she could think of in her childlike mind.
And then what in the box? Orange.
What happened? When did you find out you were supposed to be called black?
You know, I think probably.
When did you find out?
Gosh, I think it was maybe consciousness kind of started becoming aware, or maybe around 5th grade to middle school, maybe around that age.
Did you go to an all-black school?
I didn't. Actually, I went to all white schools.
Yeah.
So
you look just like everybody else?
I didn't see me. I don't know how to explain. I just didn't see me. I knew something. Hey, I didn't know.
And at that point, your skin color wasn't important.
I wasn't seeing it until it was brought to me. It was brought to me that I was othered.
Right. And when you got to the age when you were going to be dating, all of a sudden you knew for sure.
Oh, definitely knew then.
Oh yeah.
What was it about middle school?
It was about middle school that it became more
Prevalent.
that, okay, there's a lot of culture, because that's a difference too. So there's some friends that were, Latino or Mexican, and then me. And it was just it got bigger, a little bit bigger. So that was
Her
But
world
but
opened up a
but
little more.
but culture is something we will work with, and we will enjoy, and we will appreciate, and we will recognize. But when it's culture plus color,
Well, that's
then we have to change the way we react to the culture because of the color, which which destroys our ability to communicate effectively with a whole lot of other people.
And that has always been a thing because my family is very military based. So we have family from like Korea. We have family in Germany. We have family
Chinese,
like such a diverse
Japanese,
family. So
Caucasian. Oh, we
But
have
they are
shades of brown.
they are appreciated in your family,
right.
but I doubt that they're appreciated in your neighborhood.
Well, that's true. I mean,
Yeah. See, if all families were like families who are melanaceous and melanotic, if all families behaved that way and had to accept other people because it was absolutely essential to their lives, then we wouldn't have to worry about DEI. And that's another thing we have to talk about is DEI.
Yes, we're getting there.
Oh,
because
okay, yeah.
why did that all of a sudden become a dirty word?
Because it means black and white.
Oh, yeah.
But it means different color groups. And you have to realize that the best example of DEI is the human body.
Well, go ahead and talk to us about that.
Now think about that. If you see, I know that because I used to kill chickens because we sold chickens in Babylon. Anyway, I've killed lots of chickens and dressed them and gotten them ready to cook. And when you open up a chicken, you realize that its insides are really colorful.
Okay.
And when the human body is composed of thousands of cells, each of them is designed for a certain purpose. Right. They're different colors, they're different shapes, they're different sizes, and you have to treat them equally, and you have to include all of them if you're going to be healthy.
That's so true. That's
diversity for in the human body. If we could just bring in a copy of the human skeleton with his parts intact, and then say, now look at this, and look at each of the different sizes and shapes and colors and textures in that thing. That's what a human being is. That's what our society is. The society is like one human being with all different kinds of shapes and sizes of the people in it. But every one of them is to be seen as equal or to be treated equitably and to be recognized and to be chosen instead of saying, well, these are good and these are bad. Move these aside. You can live out there and all you people can live on the hill. You can live in the valley. We can't do that. If you're going to treat people fairly, if you're going to have DEI, then you have to see it as being like the human body. That makes sense to you?
Yes, it does. One doesn't work without the other.
At all.
No.
It all has to be even.
You don't chew with your feet.
No,
you don't hear with your fingers.
Yes.
You don't reproduce with your knees. You don't think with your intestines.
No.
Every part of your body is made for a specific reason and a specific job. And all those parts are to be treated equitably and are to be included in the whole. And that's what a society ought to be about. We shouldn't have to learn about diversity. We should realize that we are diverse. We are an example. Not only the society is an example of diversity, but every human being is a perfect example of diversity. Without your feet, you're going to have trouble traveling. Without your hands, you're going to have trouble writing. Without your eyes, you're going to have trouble seeing. Without your nose, you're in big trouble. People, each one of those things is vital to the healthy body. And each of those people in a group is vital to the body politic. And we need to get ready to think about it in that way and stop saying, we're going to, when I hear people saying, we're getting rid of diversity, I think, are you willing to go first?
I love that. I'm gonna say that.
And if they're white, you need to say, you have to go first because you were here last.
Not my
And you have to
driver's
say,
time.
and you have to say, and you can't live because the sun's getting stronger every day, and you don't have enough melanin in your skin to protect your cells from the damaging rays of the sun. So you are melanemic, and you don't belong with the rest of us because you aren't going to live very long.
And we're melanaceous.
So
You're melanaceous. I'm melanemic. You're melanaceous. I hope you'll put up with me. But I have a melanaceous grandson, great grandson,
Oh, you do?
and a melanotic great grandson, and a couple melanemic great grandchildren.
Okay.
Because my children have listened to what I say.
No.
Now they didn't want to, but then they realized that that broad's right.
We know what? I'm so glad that this generation still has you, Jane, because like I said, you know, they're becoming few and few of you now.
Yes.
You know, we're losing that generation that could fight for it and just didn't stand up and throw their hands in the air and say, you know what, it is what it is. Y'all weren't that generation. And
no, but when that older generation starts to run their mouths to indicate that we need to get rid of DEI, every person who is under the age of 40 needs to leap up and say, wait a minute. All of those of you who want to get rid of DEI need to remember that your body is a perfect example of DEI. Are you willing to give it up?
I mean, it's already happening.
You know,
for women.
What is happening for women?
We're losing autonomy of our bodies, of our being.
No. We are in better shape now where women are concerned than you were when I was your age.
Okay.
When I was your age, number one, Lord, before that, when I was 32 or 25, 30, television had come on.
Okay.
Every kid had a television set, and they all saw things in black and white and gray. Now think about that. It would be easy to teach that we come in black and white and gray if you believe what's on television at that time. Then along comes color television. And now kids can look at television and say to themselves, there aren't any black people on this television. There aren't any white people on this screen. And smart teachers will bring in a television that has black and white in it, and there are still some out there, and put it in front of her students, and say, now, this is the way I was taught to see people when I was your age. Wow. See all these black and white people here? It's a lot. Now let me show you another television. Bring out that color television set and say, now, find any black people on this color television set. And they can't find them because they aren't there.
No.
Right. White over people who are white. And the kids will say, well, they are and they are. Wait a minute, are they the color of this napkin? Because if they aren't white. What are you saying? I'm saying that there aren't any white people on television because white people don't exist. And there aren't any black people on television because black people don't exist. Those two colors do not exist in the human race, skin colors in the human race. Neither do red and yellow. A yellow crayon. You can put it up against any Japanese or Chinese person on the earth, and he or she won't be this color. No. Because we have been lying for long enough.
Enough.
If I were teaching today, I would teach shades of brown. And I would bring in that Pantone color scale, and I would roll it out, and I'd have the students come up and put your hands on this until you come to a color that matches the color on the back of your hand. Not the palm of your hand, because the palm of your hands are all pretty much the same color. But find a color that matches the color on the back of your hand. Then we're going to go to the thesaurus. We're going to look through the synonyms for brown in the thesaurus. We're going to find the color that's on the back of your hand. And we're going to keep on looking until we find one. And then we're going to go to the dictionary and look up that color. And it'll be defined. And then from now on, when we want to talk about color, you're going to say, I'm Hazel. And I love it. And there'll be a whole bunch of kids in the class that'll say, we are too, and we are too, and you are too. Mm. Well, does that make you smarter? No, it just makes us that color brown. Mm. I got to do this because.
Okay.
Because you won't believe it until you see it.
Okay.
Nobody wants to believe this, and I understand that because I'm old and I've been where you're going.
Well, I thought you had a secret room back there you were getting ready to open up.
Okay, listen to this. Where's it? Brown. Where's Brown? Where's Brown? Gotta find Brown in here. Brown. Okay. Brown. Hues of brown include tan, bay, chestnut, nut brown, almond, copper-colored, mahogany, browns, russet, chocolate, cinnamon, hazel, reddish brown, roan, sorrel, and I could go on for another 50, 60, 70 words.
Wow.
Whoa.
Every person on the face of the earth could find his or her skin color in that list of synonyms for brown.
Wow.
Shades of brown.
Shades of brown. We're all S.O.Bs.
Okay. I'm waiting on my T-shirt.
Well, I'm waiting on my T-shirts. They aren't printed yet.
Okay.
Because it's a pale, stale male who's doing the printing.
Oh, well, that's where you made your mistake.
I didn't do it. My daughter did.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
you don't have to talk to her. You tell her you got people on the East Coast waiting on T-shirts.
Well, I'll call her when I get done here. I'll call her and say, Mary, we've got to get those T-shirts out this week. But he's got a really strange, huge thing for the thing, and you don't need that. All you need is a little thing here that says, like this: I'm a shade of brown.
I'm loving it. And you know, Jane, we're sitting here thinking today, we're just going to have you back more often because you know why? Because this needs to continue. It doesn't need to be a one-time thing. It needs to continue, and the generations to come need to continue to hear this message.
These words need to be heard over and over and over
over
again, because we have heard black and white, black and white, black and white ever since the 2000s. The 1500s. I'm sorry, since the 1500s. That's long enough. 400 and some years of that is long enough. So now they have to spend the next 400 and some years saying shades of brown, shades of brown, shades of brown, shades of brown, and refusing to call anybody black or white. And when somebody says to you, oh, you're one of the black girls, you're going to say, number one, I gave up girlhood a long time ago.
Yes.
Girl.
I'm a girl. I'm a woman.
That's
and
true.
I can wipe you up out on the floor and then wipe you up. Because neither am I black.
Okay.
You want to see me black? I'm not black. I'm a shade of brown. I'm russet. You don't like that? Then cast your eyes somewhere else. But I'm not black, and neither are you, my friend. And you'll lose a lot of friends, but you'll also gain some dignity. There is no dignity in being called what you aren't.
I love that.
I don't want people to call me a bitch, even though it's true.
Oh,
Bitch for me is
said that? Who said that?
We're gonna go get it.
Wait, everybody says that, but I take it and I say thank you very much, because for me, bitch is an acronym for being in total control, honey.
Oh, I guess I am.
Hey, every time somebody calls you that name, you smile and say thank you very much. I'm glad you recognize it. I'm in control and you're out of control, or you wouldn't have called me that name.
Ooh. See?
Acronyms are very, very valuable. Yeah, you've got to turn those words, those ugly words, into something beautiful. Somebody says,
that's the way to do it.
I think, well, you can't understand normal thinking. That's an acronym. CUNT is an acronym for can't understand normal thinking.
I
can't.
Anybody who calls you that needs to be brought up short, and you have to let them know, number one, I know what you said, but you don't know what you're saying. I know what I am, and you have no idea. You would like to reduce me to what you think I am. That means that you don't think well. Go over there in the corner, and I'll bring you a book to read.
Let them know, Jane.
Yeah. And then give them this book, which was written by a brown woman. It's called Flipped. And it is the simplest book you will ever read to let pale faces find out how it feels. This woman wrote this book about a young man, a young pale-faced male, who was driving down the road, and he has an accident, flicks his car into a ditch or something, and he's unconscious. And they rush him to the hospital, and he's unconscious, and while he's unconscious, he lives as a white man in an all-black world. Everything that happens to him everything that happens to black people in our white world happens to this white man in a black world.
Wow.
It is terrifying, because when a white supremacist survives a devastating car crash, he slips into a coma. and into a world turned upside down. In his unconscious state, he dreams of a society where the roles are reversed. Black Americans hold the power, and he and his family are treated as second-class citizens. Forced to endure the very injustices he once ignored, he begins to see the truth about the world and himself. Flipped is a bold, soul-stirring story of reversal, awakening, and the power of empathy to challenge even the deepest roots of hate. This is the shortest book you'll ever read, and everybody should read it.
See,
Who's it by?
Yeah, who is this?
Christina Cates. She's
Christina
a
Cates.
Melanesian woman. She's a Melanesian, brilliant woman, and it isn't going to sell well, I'm afraid, because it tells the truth.
Should be
And
mandatory
really
reading.
Melanesian people don't want to read the truth. Everybody has to read it. It's absolutely wonderful. There's another book you have
Put
to
a
read.
link we'll put a link in the comments about her.
The book is Beyond. I'll think of it. In the middle of the night, I'll think of it. But get flipped immediately. And get the book that you see behind me.
What's that say? Is that your book?
Wait a minute.
Hate Monger.
Okay,
It's the story of that miserable, wretched creature, Stephen Miller, who is the one who was directing Donald Trump. You've got to read the book Hate Monger. Everybody has to read that book because you don't understand what's going on until you read it. And after you've read it, you will never have any doubt again as to what is really happening and why it's happening and who's directing it. So
well,
get flipped.
I think some of us do know that. And I said, I think some of us already know what that's about and kind of who's directing things. And
But
I don't think
if you read it in
shades of brown, I think it has to do with shade of green.
If you read it in black and white and people argue with you, you can whip the book out and say, wait a minute, see what it says here? You see how he has planned this? You see how easily he can change you? How easily one person can change a whole society? You see what's happening here? And if they see it in black and white, they're more likely to listen to it. If it comes out of your mouth, it's just another russet woman running her mouth again. And you need to say, yeah, I am.
Okay.
Jane, but I'm going to say things that you don't. Yeah, I'm going to say things that you don't like, but you'll have to get used to it. You better get the book Lynching. It's excellent. Excellent. Oh, my God. It just, I started this morning and I can't put it down. I'll have it finished in the next. I've got one chapter left. It's just mind-blowing because it's the story of Morris Deese's rise as from just a sort of not really excited about race to a man who sees race as it really is and racism as it really is. And all of a sudden, it's like, we can change this. We can kill the Klan. Didn't have to destroy them, just have to destroy the very idea of the Klan. And that's what this is about, how they have killed the Klan. And everybody needs to know that you can do this. People can get together and put a stop to crap. And
well, you know what?
You realize that if Morris Deese could do it, then so could all the rest of us.
Well, you know what? I'm going to put a pin in that. And you know what, Jane? I just hope we can continue these conversations and continue to bring you on, and you'll continue to like us.
Look, you're my 30th to 50th cousins.
I know. Well, wait a minute. I thought it was third.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's 30th to 50th. I'd like for us to be first and second or third, but we aren't. We're 30th to 50th. But I'm grateful for that much because without people like you, there would be no people like me.
Well, we thank you for that, Cousin Jane.
Well, no, thank you for calling me Cousin Jane, but you don't have to thank me. You have to realize that if you had learned that in school, it would be a surprise. And I would never have to say it again. If we had done a good job of educating, I would never have to say to anyone, you and I are cousins. And have you say, huh? Because we are all members of the same race.
Right.
And different faces aren't different races. We have to remember that. But we choose not to. We choose to believe whatever our first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers told us. And we'll be under the teacher who says, wait a minute. The rest of these teachers aren't telling you the truth, folks. There's only one race on the face of the earth, and we're all members of it, and we're all shades of brown. If I were teaching third grade today, every teacher in the building would be ready to, and they were when I was teaching third grade. And they were ready to kill me then. They would be even. They would be even more furious if I went back into the classroom today and said to a bunch of third, fourth, fifth, seventh, and eighth graders, kids, there are no white people here, and there are no black people here. There are no people the color of this lettering, and there are no people the color of the page of this book. People do not come in those two colors. You need to know that. And now we're going to talk about what you really are. And I would whip out that Pantone skin tone scale, and I'd have each of those kids come up and put their hand on it and find the color of their skin. And then I would have them call themselves that color for the rest of all the time they were in third grade. And then they'd go
to
into
the
fourth
brown
grade.
page and find their color. Send them to the brown in the thesaurus and make them find their color there.
That's right. If you have children, that's what you should do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's what's
Absolutely.
going on in this household. And you
Well,
know what I need you to do before we leave here? I want you to look that camera in the eye and tell our audience, leave them with one powerful remark tonight. for me.
Yes.
What have you learned tonight? What is one thing you've learned by watching this program?
Okay.
Anybody?
Wow.
One of you two women.
You know what? I know what I've learned, and I know that my shade of brown is in that dictionary.
Right.
In the thesaurus, not in the dictionary.
Oh,
It's
in the thesaurus. I'm so sorry.
Go to the thesaurus. Go to the thesaurus, and you will not find your shade. If you consider yourself black, you will not find your shade in the thesaurus. But if you consider yourself brown, you will. There
I'm
is a
in
shade
there.
of brown in the thesaurus for your skin color. And
Well-
every student should have the right to define himself instead of having people who read history that was written by pale, stale males 120 years ago.
Pale stale male. Wait, you know what? Wait, while we've got you here, I need you to promise us that you're coming back.
Well, you have to promise me that you'll still be in business after anybody hears this.
Well, if you don't hear from us no more after the night, you know what happened.
But you won't. If you don't hear from them, you'll know why. and see, that's what happens when people ask me to speak. Then they don't. Well, for instance, I've been banned on all college and university campuses.
Yeah.
Right. True.
Because people who have power can keep those of us who believe something different from what the powerful want us to believe. They can keep us from telling what we believe. They can keep us from changing the situation. The situation has to be changed. You have to remember that only 15 to 18% of the population of the earth, 15 to 18% of the population of the earth is classified as white.
Well, there you
And it's this classification because we aren't white.
Mm.
So you see, we have been living a lie,
Right.
and we have been teaching a lie, and we have been pretending that it's really true, and we have elected people who believe the lie. And if you have a teacher like me who tells the kids, don't call one another white and black because you aren't white and black. And you aren't red and yellow. They're shades of brown. Here's a good color for you. Here's a good color for you. And it matches the color of your skin. And you have the right to be what you are instead of being what somebody tells you you are.
Right.
Well, there
Now,
you
if somebody tells me I'm white, then I have to act white.
Mm.
And if somebody tells you you're black, then you have to act black. And we all know that there's a way that white people are supposed to act, and there's a way that black people have to act.
Mm.
Well,
Am I lying about this?
That's true.
everything you said, this is why we keep coming back to you. So, we're learning from you. We're unlearning from you.
Right.
Well, but do you have children?
This is mine and my only, and she has 2 babies.
This is your daughter?
This is my daughter.
That's my mom.
Aren't you lucky? Aren't you lucky? And you're a grandmother.
Yes.
I have two
I'm a
boys.
Mimi. I'm a Mimi.
Oh, yeah, that's what my great grandchildren call me.
Okay.
Except their parents call me something else. But are you encouraging your children to call you your grandchildren colors other than black?
We don't even talk about color, so it's not even been.
How old are your children?
I have a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And her children are melanaceous too, because
Well, my husband is Italian and Polish.
Well, he can't help that. But
So
listen, do not let anybody call your children mixed race.
mm,
Give up the words like mixed race and multiracial. and biracial. There's no such thing.
Shades
And
of
when they
brown.
start using those words around you, and you go to the school and you say to the teacher, in the future, when you refer to my son or my daughter, you will not refer to them as black. They are shades of brown.
Yeah.
And I insist that you refer to them as shades of brown because these students are not black and white. And when you tell them they are, you are lying to my children.
Well,
Now,
we need to get that box on applications and everything.
I
Shades
mean,
of brown.
how do we
damn
change
right you do.
this?
You need to get that. You need to get that Pantone skin tone scale, and it'll cost you $100 and some. But it's extremely valuable because you can lay it out and let the kids put their hands on it and find the color of their skin on that scale. And there is no black piece on it, and there's no white piece on it. Because people do not come in those two colors. So get the Pantone skin tone thing and take it to school and hand it to the teacher and say, now let me show you how this works.
Ha! No, we're going to call you up and put you on the phone so you can tell her how it works.
Well, oh yeah, and she'll really be pleased about that.
Jane, you promise you'll come back to us?
Absolutely.
So, there you have it. Jane Elliott. She didn't come here today to give us all answers. She came here to hold up a mirror. The discomfort we might feel right now isn't about her. It isn't about me. It isn't about you. It's about the reflections we have spent our lives trying to ignore.
Or unlearn some things that we were just completely lied to about.
And as she's shown us for over 50 years, the problem isn't out of hand here. It's not in the streets. It's in the quiet, unexamined places in our own minds and our own hearts. So if you like what you hear, listen, we've got a whole lot more to talk about. Head over to Tea Time.
Yes, we do. You know where Tea Time is. Go to www.thedailydownsmedia.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
Like and subscribe. You know what? And we thank you guys for joining us tonight. And remember to come back next time. We'll have something great to tell you guys about. And until next time, you guys,
remember, count it all joy.
That's it right there.